Hello there, Africa. Welcome to 90 Minutes in Africa, your Pan-African show, which takes a look at developments in the continent. In today's edition of the program, 90 Minutes in Africa, we are going to be taking a look at the situation in Mali and how it affects the Sahel region, the situation in Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, and how this affects the Sahel region. But before that, we are also going to take a look at happenings in Cameroon, as Cameroon is hosting the Africa Cup of Nations, and the Pharaohs succeeded to eliminate the indomitable Lions of Cameroon from the competition. And it's a sad atmosphere in the country, as many Cameroonians expected the indomitable Lions to take them to the finals of the competition. But unfortunately, it was not so, as the revenge of the Pharaohs was so difficult to bear. In this edition of the program 90 Minutes in Africa, we already have our panelists in the studio, 4 with us in the studio, and 2 will be joining us out of the studios via Skype. With me in the studio, we have senior journalist Kihkishiy, who is a regular face in this program. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Elvis. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for always taking time out of your very busy schedule to come and talk Africa. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And on the other side, we have a senior Africa analyst, Mr. Slow and Steady Facts, Ndiwum Emmanuel, who is already with us in the studio. Mr. Ndiwum, thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you very much, Boh Elvis. It's always a pleasure. And I take this time to greet all those watching us from Cairo, all those watching us from Dakar. And I say a special shout out to Sadio Mane and Mo Salah, who are bracing up for a beautiful finals tomorrow. And why not the whole of the African continent?
Thank you. We have Waingeh Ferdinand, a journalist who is also a regular guest in this show. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be part and parcel of this great program. My media prime is doing great, and 90 Minutes in Africa is doing greater. Special greetings to all those who are watching the program right now all over the world. We're here to talk about great things, and of course, it's going to be a wonderful program today.
Thank you. Our political analyst all the way from Boh Elvis, also a teacher, researcher all the way from Boh is with us in the studio, our political analyst, Labaran Bekondo. Thank you for coming, sir.
It's always a pleasure being here to look at African affairs from the African microscope. I salute Senegal, salute Egypt, salute the Cameroonian people who are actually those who are critical. And I salute all in the studio. It's an honor for me to meet Kihkishiy Lawrence. I've just been hearing small boy, and now I'm with him live.
Thank you, Labaran Bekondo. And we're going to move over now to the United States to meet our lady in the panel today, Adesi Bina. She's from Adesi Bina, is a member of the Africa Organic Paradigm. She's from Kenya, and of course, she's joining us today in the program. Adesi, thank you so much for joining us on 90 Minutes in Africa.
Thank you, my brother. I greet you to our newest African greetings. The one who comes in peace is always welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. The one who comes to learn is especially always welcome. Positive energy and creation energy to all the Africans in the continent and all those Africans globally. This is our newest greetings. Everybody should adopt it in their own language.
Thank you so much, Adesi. I see behind there the many of our viewers who are seeing the Organic Africa Paradigm. Maybe just use 1 minute to tell them, those of us here in the studio, what it is about, for those who don't know about the Organic African Paradigm.
Yeah, Organic African Paradigm is the natural identity blueprint of all Africans. And it's more like we teach the soul, the science, and the intelligence of all Africans. Like every other group, they have their natural identity blueprint. And as Africans, we find ourselves confused because we try to follow other people's paradigm, and apparently those paradigms are not helping us. So we, as the Organic African Paradigm, we are here to deal with what is our soul. The soul means like the well-being of the African, from the self to the family to the community, to the society, to the collective. That which heals us, that which helps us to unite as a people is what we teach Africans from their soul. And then we have like the sciences, what Africans build so that they can those things that they build can help them to use them in this world. Like our ancestors built the pyramids, our ancestors came with a lot of ingenuity. So that is what we call the sciences, the tool that Africans can create to actually aid them in this planet. And then the intelligence is our how to navigate the world globally. We are not just limited to the continent. Remember, our ancestors, when they reached the height of their civilization, they went and spread that civilization to all like Asia Kush, India Kush, Arab Kush. You see them all the way. Our blueprint is all over the world, and we are taking that position back, and we are here to tell the world that we are the guardians of this planet. We cannot allow other people to continue destroying the world, because we are the ones who restore like equilibrium to this universe. So this is why we are here as the organic African paradigm. It gives the children of Africa their purpose and destiny. And once they have that purpose and destiny, now they can stand up and ignite their soul and ignite their mind and do that which they are supposed to do as Africans globally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Adese Bina. You can watch us on Canal Sat, channel 309, or you can watch us on YouTube live. I'm saying this so that also Adese can be able to share to our contacts in Kenya. They can watch us on BT Media Group, that is live on YouTube. We are broadcasting live simultaneously on YouTube as BT Media Group, and also live on Facebook as My Media Prime TV. We want to say hi to those who are watching us from Facebook. You can share also to as many groups as possible to invite others to watch. Still, we remain in the United States with our researcher in LIGS University, Elijah Enoaku. He was with us last week in the program. Thanks for joining us again, Elijah Enoaku.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again to continue the conversation from where we started last time. I want to greet every African out there. I want to greet those who are, excited about the African Nations Cup. And to those who are from Cameroon, I'll say, guys, fair play did win. So let's celebrate fair play. We're all Africans, and we came together to have a match, and the better team always wins. So guys, chill, and let's have a conversation about the future, the direction, and where we need to take Africa from here. Thank you for those in the studio as well.
Thank you, Elijah. We use the opportunity to talk briefly about sports, because special program on sports, My Media Prime has a special program on sports, which comes up every day. And of course, but we just want to tackle this issue because many people are itchy to get our own analysis. We might use just 10 minutes and then we'll move on to our main topic. Kihkishiy Lawrence, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon were domitable. They were booted out of the competition by the Pharaohs of Egypt. And it has really been a very difficult moment. It was we had a kind of a graveyard silence in Cameroon after the indomitable Lions of Cameroon were booted out of the competition. So far, what can you say about the level of the competition so far? Also with Cameroon booted out in Cameroon booted out of the competition.
Well, for the benefit of your channel, Africa has proven that football is no longer a game of names. You no longer have small countries and big countries, or big names and small names. No way. We're surprised to see countries like Ghana, Algeria, Nigeria going back at the very early stage of the competition, and it was like, hey, what's happening? And before you knew it, formerly small countries, the Comoros Islands, were threatening a country like Cameroon with less
fewer players on the pitch than Cameroon, which is the host country. And the funny is that they didn't even have a goalkeeper. So it's to tell you that football has improved on the continent, and every nation now has to be prepared to face the game, no longer to be facing a country. You're facing the game. It's no longer a matter of Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon now. So I took the participation of Cameroon, first of all, as taking part in a competition. It wasn't as if we are organizing a competition to win, like it was made to understand. And I understand the frustration of those who took the defeat differently, because they were taught to expect victory. They were not taught to expect a game, a football where you would participate and win or lose. So when they prepared their minds that way, losing was no longer acceptable, and I understand the bitterness. In fact, if you see the unruly behavior towards countries like the Côte d'Ivoire, which is going viral, where they were not very happy with Cameroonian supporters and fans who, after their defeat, they didn't give them a chance to even weep. You know, I saw how one reporter from the Côte d'Ivoire was humiliated in front of the stadium when he was about to make his commentary, and he gave up and was crying on the microphone. So those are habits, attitudes that we should condemn and try to educate our public, let them start growing up to know that it is football. First of all, you are not paid for it. Those who are paid for it are elsewhere. So why go to the point of maybe dying for it when you will get nothing? In fact, those who organize it, they already know what they will take home before they come. So what is the need going to die? You want to climb on the fence? And so those are the things that we should start educating our public to get used to.
Thank you, Kihkishiy Lawrence. Ndiwum, Emmanuel, it was also an opportunity for Cameroon to have a taste of what it takes to lose when hosting a competition. Remember, we've been getting our Africa Cup of Nations victories and cups, trophies, mostly from out of the country, and also an opportunity for them to have a taste of what it takes to lose.
No, when you say it was an opportunity to have a taste of how it means to lose, somebody might interpret that they have not been used to losing. They have been used to losing, so I don't see why losing this game became so particular.
Losing
or
at
maybe,
home.
maybe because they were losing at home. But then, what shocked me about the way Cameroonians perceive this victory is the fact that it's like we wanted to host this Nations Cup at all cost, and we wanted to win every match at all cost, even if it meant winning at the cost of the detriment of lives. And of course, it was shocking to me. And one thing again is that they were watching the match with a lot of emotions, not with vigilance, not with objectivity. Because I'll be very frank to tell you that they were the first person who were quick to go to their Facebook pages and say, the Egyptians we see today, we shall see them no more. And I was cautioning them that, look, when you are going against an opponent, make the opponent feel more friendly with you. And in the friendliness, the opponent may lose sight of where you were coming to beat him, and you end up succeeding. One other thing where they lose sight of it is the fact that because of too much emotions and expectations, and they believe that they were on their home soil, they forgot that a game of such nature was supposed to have a special game plan. And I will explain to you. The Egyptians came into the match knowing fully well that the Cameroonians will be playing under more pressure. And if you watch the match very critically, you will discover that the Egyptians did not play under any pressure, because they came knowing that the home pressure on the side of the Lions, the pressure from the president of FECAFOOT, who had earlier told them that it was a war, not a match, was giving them a lot of pressure. And because of that, you know, I've always stood against the coach of this team, and I'm saying it clear and loud. Somebody who speaks neither English nor French, in a short time to speak with a player at a short notice, how will it go? You discover that the Egyptians took all these factors, mustered the courage, summarized the game into 3 phases, and I explained. First phase, They knew that they were to defend at the first half. And by defending, made the Lions to lose sight of the fact that it was a match against an opponent that was very strong. And they were already believing in themselves. That's one. Secondly, the Egyptians knew that we were coming back in the second half to play offensive. And by playing offensive, we would destabilize their trust. And by destabilizing their trust, we will instill in them fear. And that fear came. Thirdly, the Egyptians knew that, look, these people, they are just playing to animate the gallery. And the third part of the game, which they mapped it out well and clear, and our coach failed to see, was that they were preparing for penalty shootout. And that is how they managed their players, managed to a certain level. You even saw that a certain number 9 came in. They discovered that, no, this extra time he might not be good. They replaced a replacement. And he went out. And you saw that in the penalty, when they sounded the last whistle, all of them were laughing, smiling. The fear was now left in our camp. And because the fear is in our camp, of course, nature says fear is the first defeat to every human being. Your own fears are your first defeat. Because they saw the fear in us, we were already defeated. So I did not see why Cameroonians should take to streets, some were blocking the roads. And it comes back to what senior journalist said a while ago. We have to educate our masses, educate the citizens. There are some uncivilized actions that are not supposed to be exhibited at certain points in time, because whatever the case, whoever wins is an African trophy. So civility should be the watchword.
Thank you so much. We get now to Waingeh Ferdinand, also to a difficult time for those who missed penalties at the Cameroonian camp, and I'm sure they should be going through a lot. You know how very unstable Cameroonian supporters can be. At one point today, you are shoe. The next moment, you are no longer shoe. And so you can imagine just missing a penalty, people forget about all the good things you've done and they remember the latest news. That is how news is.
Yeah.
They remember the latest thing, the latest
course,
happening.
Of course. Actually, you know, Cameroonian fans, I want to call them fanatics, they're fond of falling in and falling out. When they're in, they're in, and when they are out, they are out. You know, when the Lions were performing from their first game up to the level of the semi-finals, every Cameroonian outside there on social media were like Abobe, Tokoshu. Those are kind of comments that we got from people appreciating, you know, the great play of the Lions. Now, just because of a victory against the Lions, the Egyptian victory against the Lions at the level of the semi-finals, everybody fell out, and the Abushus were not mentioned again. Some other names came up on social media, and we saw Cameroonians so annoyed. Like Mr. Kihkishiy Lawrence said earlier, you know, we need to educate the Cameroonian population. It's about a game. There is no adage that says one who organizes the competition must win the competition. And we should remember that in 2017, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon came back with a trophy they won in Gabon, and they're the ones that sent home Gabon. And I asked Cameroonians, when they were feeling that joy in 2017, what position did they keep the Gabonese, who had to lose the same competition at home? Cameroon has won 5 competitions, 5 AFCONs, all away from home. So we should give a chance for other people to enjoy that glory and those glorious moments when they equally take the competition back home and take those trophies back home. So I want to say the Indomitable Lions, they did their best. I continue to appreciate them. Yesterday in the afternoon, I was wearing the Cameroonian jersey, and someone was asking me, Ferdinand, you're courageous. How come you're wearing this jersey after this sad moment? I told them that I keep supporting the Lions because I believe in that team. I believe that this is a young team, and I want to differ a little bit with Mr. Ndiwum, who said the coach, Nsah, has language problems and stuff. We did not get that kind of language when he was pushing through with the team. Yes.
Mr. Ndiwum has before
Yes. No, I still want to say that highlighting that was not a reason for the failure at the level of the semi-finals, because the Lions played a good game. They played a good game. There was some kind of consistency in their play. We saw the attacking machinery, you know, bracing up to the challenge. trying to make sure that they get a goal for the Indomitable Lions. We saw critical attempts by the attack line, but they were not fruitful. And we know that in a game of football that plays over 90 minutes and plays to 120 already tells you that it was not a game to play with. It was a match to reckon with and a match to celebrate. I see in the Lions, the Indomitable Lions, a great fighting spirit, taking into consideration that majority of those who are in the team are youngsters who might not have faced the kind of fan base that they faced during this AFCON. I think that one of the things that I could say was a major challenge for them were those who were selected to take the penalty shootouts when players that have never done that back home, especially with the tension of being the organizing nation, especially with the tension of thousands of Cameroonians with hopes on their shoulders. You see somebody like Mukudi, if you watch him when he was coming to take that penalty, he saw the weight.
Defeated. Just from his face, he was defeated.
The weight was there on his shoulders. And that's why you saw Andre Onana, who said during the press conference that he would have preferred the coach, bringing in players to take the penalties who have been experienced and who have had to do that time and time again. You saw Abubakar Versan doing that with a lot of laxity, sending it through as he did in the first game against Burkina Faso. It was a difficult moment for Mukudi. It was a difficult moment for Leah Sidiki. And it was a very, very difficult moment for my own brother, Clinton J, who came in at the moment so depressed, so broken, with the hopes of Cameroonians on him, he could not give it back. So I want to say kudos to the Lions. They did it well. It was not a matter of winning the competition. It was a matter of proving to Cameroonians and to the Africans and to the world at large that we are up to the task. And if big teams like Nigeria, Algeria, Ghana went home at the early stage of the competition, I think the Indomitable Lions were not domitable. They only gave a chance for Egypt to sprout.
Thank you so much, Waingeh Ferdinand, Labaran Bekondo. Of course, Cameroon is having a third place match today. And sometimes I'm a little bit provocative. I was telling my neighbors this morning that, oh guys, I think we have to go to the field today and support the Lions. I remember saying, we are not going to watch that match. It's not important at all. We don't know why you have decided to provoke us this morning, Elvis. But Labaran Bekondo, I mean, the lessons from this match, because I went to the Facebook page of AFCON, Total Energies AFCON, and you discover that seemingly many nations were against Cameroon because they are not seeing very clearly what happened. They think that Cameroon was not a good team, especially with the game against Comoros, which made Cameroon to lose its a lot of fans, even though the COVID-19 tests were not carried out by Cameroon. But I mean, that game against Comoros with COVID-19, with some players of Comoros tested COVID-19, it seemed to push many people to believe that we never had a good team and we had a lot of enemies against our national team here in Cameroon. So, but your take-home message from what happened with Egypt?
I watched the match, but I was very distracted because I was working on my phone. They say when a government lost its credibility in the eyes of the governed, it becomes very difficult to manage the people. Now, the team lost its credibility. The way they played the first match, the second match, and the third match were not the best. That's why here we're told that in Douala, a letter was sent to Fekafut that what they have been seeing in Yaoundé, they should not repeat it here. You see, the match in Douala was more tense and serious. But what we should learn here is that we should not be too confident with things. We're too just confident. Just too confident. From the people who were playing the field and those who were sitting outside, they were just too confident. Next time, I'm sure we should polish our machineries, we should be humbled, and we should build the game from there. And one thing is that there's a problem in this country. The victory of the Lion would have lost so many things on the ground. But now, we are back now on the drawing board. We face the rhythm of the dance, we face the political upheavals in this country, and we write Cameroon the way it's supposed to go. This is a lesson. We come back home to cure the malaria, the malady, the gangrene that has been going on in this country. Should be cleaned. because this victory would have lost a lot of things under the table.
Thank you, Labaran Bekondo. We move over to the U.S. and join. We move over to the U.S. and join Bina. I don't know. Many women too have also been very interested in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. I don't know whether you've been interested in the game so far. I don't want to talk specifically about Cameroon, but your general impressions from watching the game and maybe the final that is coming up against between Senegal and Egypt. Your general impression from watching the game, the games so far.
Actually, I don't remember when I watched the soccer. It's been maybe 10 years, so I really have no idea what's happening in that territory.
Okay, I see. Okay, no problem. We'll come back to you, of course. Adese came today mostly talk about what is happening in Mali, and sometimes. But I get over to you, Mr. Elijah Enoaku. Are you there, sir?
I am here.
Elijah Enoaku, Cameroon is out of the competition today they'll be playing against Burkina Faso for the 3rd place, and then Egypt will be clashing with the clash of Liverpools, as we put it. They'll be clashing with Senegal to see who carries home the trophy. So far, so good. The take-home lessons from this competition so far.
Yeah, there are a few lessons. There are a few lessons that we can gather from here. The first one is that let Cameroonians know that fair play won. That's the first thing I want to say. If you prepare very well for a match, you prepare for anything in life, obviously you're going to do well. I mean, somebody just mentioned there that all over the world, so many people were cheering for the opponent against Cameroon. It's not out of nothing. It's not out of hatred for Cameroon. Everybody could see that Egypt was the better side. So that's why I say fair play won. And I want to advise Cameroonians to just chill. You know, I think Labaran mentioned there about the game between Cameroon and Egypt in 2017, if I remember very well. This game was actually against Egypt, and Cameroon won. So we didn't see any clashes or anything that happened, people blocking the street and so on, because the better side won. So what I want to say here, the take-home message here is that if you prepare well, you have your action plan for whatever you want to do, even as we are talking as Africans here, if you have a strategy of what you want to do, definitely you're going to do well. So I did not see the Cameroonian side prepared for Egypt at this time around. Maybe next time, maybe they can take a lesson from their FIFA president, Samuel Eto'o. After the match, he told them that, well, they should prepare for the next match. I don't know, against Senegal or Burkina Faso, or maybe in Qatar. They should prepare for the next match. That's the spirit of the game. If you prepare well, if you are up to the task, you're going to make it. But if you are not up to the task, try it next time. That is the spirit of fair play. So everybody should just chill. It's a match. It's African Cup. One African nation cup, and it's kind of fair. That's what we are here to talk about. So guys, just chill.
Thank you, Elijah Enoaku. Thank you so much, Elijah Enoaku. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end there because there are special programs coming up on my Media Prime, focus on AFCON, that will focus on this and get to the details and all of that, all the information you need to know about Cameroon's participation. We look forward to the final game tomorrow between Senegal and Egypt, and of course the 3rd place game today between Cameroon and Burkina Faso, which doesn't seem to generate any anxiety among Cameroonians. And I want to use the opportunity to recognize our social media fans that are watching us. I want to say hi to Song Derek, who is watching us right now on Facebook. Awokab Caleb, Walachik, who is writing us and asking a question. So there is no Cameroonian capable to coach the Lions. Anyway, and then we have Musa Hassan, who is watching us too. Just indicate where you're watching us from on Facebook, and of course you can write your message, and of course also make sure that you share to as many groups as possible to invite others to watch. Greetings to you, Fondong Richard, who is watching us. Kem Teba John Nave, greetings to you. Bruno Nya, greetings to you. Ayuk Franklin, David Passy, all of them are watching us via Facebook and to our millions of viewers that are watching us via normal television on Canal Sat and other networks across the world. To say here, ladies and gentlemen, that you can also participate in this show by asking questions or sending in your message using the number you find on your screen. The number is available on WhatsApp. It's also available on normal SMS, where you can send your messages, and we are going to read your messages out, just as one of the fans of the program. Greetings to you, Mr. Boh. Your program is always very good. My regards to you and your crew. It's Dr. Isidore, a holistic doctor in modern traditional medicine, writing in from Bamenda. Thank you, doctor, and of course, thank you so much. Time for us to open a new page in this show. That's the topic that brought us together. 6 panelists today to talk about the situation in Mali. Topic: Mali wears Captain Armband of Pan-Africanism. What is happening in Mali? Actually, the transition president of Mali, Assimi Goïta, gave 72 hours for Djelmeyer, who is French ambassador to Mali, to leave the country after some statements he made that did not honor the transitional government. And the transitional government led by Assimi Goïta decided to show him the way out of Mali by making sure that he takes the next available flight to France. And as Pan-Africanist is a topic of interest, considering what is happening in the Sahel, considering what is happening in Mali, also what is happening in Guinea, in Guinea with Mamadi Doumbouya, also what is happening in Burkina Faso, and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about that. Anti-French demonstrators immediately poured to the streets, Kihkishiy Lawrence, after the expulsion of French ambassador Djelmeyer.
Yes, it was a sad picture to see, especially the workers at the embassy who were shaking hands with the ambassador as he was leaving the embassy, meaning that he actually left after the decision from the junta, the military junta. But all of that, we may see the chain, and it's true, it's sending a message of Pan-Africanism, but I am still on the level of strategy. It's good because it's sparked from some anger, some bitterness. All right. After this, how do you manage the next moment that comes? Because I expected the junta not to have entered into some rush, some fast decisions. It's true that the comments may not have been pleasing to the French, to the junta, the comments from the ambassador. But I see the need for strategy in managing some of these diplomatic issues, because no country today can live as an island. You know, Mali is vast territory. Mali is like, when you look at other countries like Chad, Sudan, Mali, and which other country? Those big countries they have challenges, especially security challenges, in such a way that most of them are divided. Chad, for example, you may think that is a stable country. No, it is not. Sudan is not. Then Mali now is not. A good portion of Mali is threatening to set up another country, and that's what the junta is accusing France of supporting. But I still think that since our regional organizations, institutions are not strong enough, after taking power, Mali was supposed to have built some very close relations before moving into some major decisions. Some people are already rushing to talk about currency creation and other things that should be decided upon, but to me, it is still not yet, it's not yet the time. So for Pan-Africanism, yes, we should correct what despotism, what foreign influence on African systems have done wrong, and there are so many of them. But now, those who are taking over to correct should make sure that they are correcting it in line with the interests of the people, because the same people who came out in Mali, and they were huge, those same people, if you make the mistake and don't satisfy them in the next 6 months, the way they will turn back against you, it will be catastrophic. So yes, they have hit the bell. Burkina Faso came in, although like I said, the need for strategy, because the way Burkina Faso came, taking over from the Malian example, we're still, I don't know if people have already had news about the former president who was taken away. There were fears that something wrong may have been happening to them. So those are the things that make me to worry about strategy. What happens after igniting that chain, which I'm afraid should not spread without strategy. In other words, you're taking over, You're not taking over to kill the former system and then let them vanish, because you need them to know how to link the future. So that's my worry about the junta.
Thank you, Kihkishiy Lawrence. Let's go to our missions and get declaration of Mali from our producer, Eli Nolinga. Declaration of Mali, that is the Malian Foreign Affairs Minister, Abdoulaye Diop, explaining the reasons why Joël Meyer, French ambassador to Mali, was sent out of the country. Of course, it's in French, but don't worry, we are going to give you a brief explanation of it. We got at the last minute, so we never had time to do a voiceover. But of course, we are going to explain to you what he is saying in English, and then Ferdinand Waingeh is going to come in with his own analysis. Let's get to the missions. Declaration of Mali. I see that probably it's not yet ready. Ferdinand Waingeh, the demonstrators who came out in the streets were waving Russian flags. They were burning the cardboard cutouts of French President Emmanuel Macron. What does this say about the expectations of Malians?
Elvis, I would like to say that, like senior journalist Mr. Kihkishiy Lawrence said earlier, he's worried about the strategy, and I myself am worried about the strategy. And I think last week's program, Mr. Elijah Enoaku raised that same worry. If you're selling out France, who are you bringing in? Yeah, because getting a new wife is always an exciting thing. But now, how far are you sure that the wife will be different from the former wife? And how are you sure that the wife you're getting now is going to bring relative peace to home? Mali, at this moment, is having very difficult times with international bodies, international institutions. They're running under very, very heavy sanctions from CEDEAO and threats from big powers in the world, calling on them to, move faster to a civilian government. And of course, I want to think that the transition itself has failed in one of the promises, because when the coup happened, that promised to go for 18 months and then hand over government to civilian rule through a democratically elected president. But today, it's not the same story. They're pushing forward for years to come under the pretext that they want to, put back Mali on track, get everything set, prepare the ground for an elected president to come into function without much difficulties. How true that is a question that we can't answer at this very moment. Now, France is going out, and Russia is coming in. We are not used to seeing Russia acting in many countries in Africa as they're coming in Mali. We would have drawn lessons from other countries to say, now this is Russia, and this is what they are bringing. Relations between Russia and the Ukraine, as we know right now, are very, very tense. And we know that superpowers like the United States, France, Britain, the European Union are not very happy with the relationship between Russia and Ukraine. And that's going to be a perfect reflection of what is going to be happening with Mali. And that's why these major powers are not very, very comfortable with the fact that Russia is coming into Africa and coming in this way. And if you see the trend of coups, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, you see Guinea has been supporting this junta for a good moment right now. And there is no doubt that if Russia has its grip on Mali, there's a very big possibility of extending its tentacles, to Guinea, extending its tentacles to Burkina Faso. And we saw an attempted coup the other day in Guinea-Bissau. And who knows if that should be happening just beside the presidency. Who knows, it might happen successfully in the nearest future. And that lead in West Africa is telling you that, Africans are becoming conscious of the fact that it's not only about democratic processes, it's about bracing up to the challenge, having the audacity to hope, struggling to build by our own selves. But now the question is, are we African, as Pan-Africanists, ready to build for ourselves, or are we hoping on others to come and build for us? Because we are sending out France saying that we don't want the foreign countries to involve in our politics, in our democracy, in our development, and at the same time bringing in Russia, which is equally a European nation. Are we doing it better? Okay. Is Mali touching on the neighboring nations to support him? Is Mali calling on the African Union to come in and support him? That's not what they're doing. They're bringing another foreign country to come in and do that. For how long will that continue? This certainly means that we are matured, but not purely matured.
Thank you, Waingeh Ferdinand, for that analysis. I think we're not going to get a video now. I want to ask a different question to Emmanuel, but the video will be played. Labaran will be the one to react on the video alongside Ade Sebina. But talking about the choice of Russia as a partner by Mali, one of the members of the transitional government said, for the security of my people, I am ready to make a pact with Satan to drive out France and its terrorist allies, terrorists in quotes, that's what Diarra said. And you, Emmanuel, your reaction to this?
Yeah, before I come to that very beautiful and good question, I wanted to react to something that Ferdinand said a while ago. History has not forgotten that de Gaulle came to power through a coup. And de Gaulle was in power for 12 years without any election. I am not sure that the French citizens rose up to react. At times we should not react in the place of others. And Mali has just been on this transitional government for barely 2 years, and people are already condemning. History has not also forgotten that Mali was the second biggest empire in the whole of Africa. Songdeta Keita never came to power through democracy. Massa Musa Kankan never came to power through any democracy. And they ruled, and the empire was one of the best in Africa. History has it written and recorded. Of course, when a white man realized that African method of ruling was becoming the best for its people, they came in with this word called democracy, whom I actually take it to call democracy. Where there is C, I put Z. I put Z and I explain. They came to fabricate fake leaders in Africa that could better represent their interests in Africa, not for the interests of the African man. That is why, if you look at Nana Akufo-Addo, and I ask you a question, I know you are a journalist. Do you think if there was democracy in Africa, you would not have had? It is through democracy that you have people like Ouattara. It is through democracy that you have people like Nana Akufo-Addo. Now, turn the tides around. With democracy, will you have the next Paul Kagame in Africa? No. It is through democracy that you have people like President Biya in power for 40 years. It is through democracy that you have people in Gabon, like the Bongos, that have successfully made it a dynasty. It is through democracy that you have people like Buhari in power. If we were to go the real way, that is putting the people first and ascending to power to develop and fight for the interests of the people, all these people have been named would not have been in power, Boh Elvis. So I want to tell you that this thing called democracy is an imported philosophy that a white man saw in it as a soft tool to cram down the African development. And of course, they succeeded. Sometimes we used to pray, and when we are praying, God does not come down from heaven to help people. God passes through other people. It is time to thank God for passing through Assimi Goïta to open the eyes of Africans. And I'm asking myself this question. What are other African countries who are still keeping puppets in the name of president, who are still keeping senile presidents on chair, still doing? God is using one man, and you people are sleeping. Others are disassociating themselves because they want to tell France that, look, my hands are clean. Some of them who had in the past even proclaimed publicly and shamefully that we are best students to France. They render account to France, and that France is evil. I am now getting to analyze the question you asked me. We have been saying that France is evil, and there is no better way of saying it again. When it is not even a coup d'etat. Actually, sitting back and analyzing what is happening in Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso is not a coup d'etat. It's a step to drive out an enemy. Coup d'etat with who? that France has successfully manipulated Africa for this long is an ill omen. And that omen, time has come for it to be crashed down. We have to stand up as one man. This fight is not supposed to be a Malian, a Burkinabe, a Guinean fight. It is supposed to be an African fight. Since it is not an African fight, that is why you see people asking that, why are they substituting France with Russia? And I want to tell you that France, when France is taking over any country, they take over political, social, and economically.
So what's Russia doing?
No, look, Russia might be coming in, like you read there. Russia is coming in barely to give a security support. There's no doubt that in the guise of the security support, they also have their eyes on something to gain. But then, comparatively, who is a bigger evil here?
So why are you comparing?
Look, I prefer Russia. I prefer Russia. And it is not today. For those who have been following me, I have said it. If I have a bigger devil in my house that has taken control of my house completely, I will prefer that one that will come, drive in that bigger evil, and control a little portion of my house while I map out other strategies to live. Because the senior journalist said it a while ago, no country in the modern world can live like an island or as an island. We all know that. But then, because you don't want to live as an island, do you prefer to keep somebody who has crammed down a whole continent for their selfish egos? And I keep reminding you people in this program every day, if France was so much in love with democracy, why would they go to Chad to support Déby's son militarily and financially, whereas it was unconstitutional, if they were so much in love with democracy? No. Even in France, there is no democracy. They should not come and teach us what they don't practice.
Okay, Waingeh Ferdinand, we're coming back to that. Let's now go to our machines. Remember too that we have Adesebina and Elijah Nwaku over there. We're coming to you too, don't worry. Well, let me finish with the guys in the studio before I get to you over there. I want to have an excerpt of Abdoulaye Diop, who is the foreign minister of Mali, to explain what really happened, that Joel Meyer was sent out of Mali. Was he declared persona non grata? I mean, diplomatically, what really happened? Let's get it. The excerpt is in French, but I'm going to do a translation for you to understand.
Il faut clarifier la terminologie. L'ambassadeur de France, Joël Meyer, n'est pas déclaré persona non grata qui répond à une autre catégorie, mais le gouvernement du Mali a souhaité qu'il puisse quitter le territoire national dans les 72 heures pour des raisons liées aux déclarations outrageuses qui ont été formulées à l'endroit des autorités de la transition que nous avons jugées inacceptables. Propos que nous avons rejetés parce que ces déclarations tendent à dire qu'à remettre en cause et la légalité et la légitimité des autorités auprès desquelles justement l'ambassadeur de France est accrédité. Cela crée une situation très difficile parce que vous ne pouvez pas être accrédité auprès d'autorités que vous-même vous ne reconnaissez pas. Nous savons que la France elle-même dit qu'elle aligne sa position sur celle de la CEDEAO. La CEDEAO n'a jamais remis en cause les autorités de la transition, ni l'Union africaine, ni les Nations unies, ni même l'Union européenne. Donc la France est le seul pays dans cette posture d'attaque directe contre la légalité et la légitimité des autorités de la transition. Ce que nous avons souhaité en demandant le départ de l'ambassadeur, c'est qu'il puisse, en attendant que les autorités françaises clarifient leur position ou leur appréciation par rapport aux autorités de la transition, qu'ils puissent quitter le territoire national. Il pourra revenir à tout moment si le gouvernement français détermine sa position. Parce que bon, la France est présente ici de différentes manières et cette situation n'est pas tenable. Nous avons souhaité que ceci puisse être clarifié. Je crois que ça se situe dans ce cadre-là. Et je tiens encore une fois à rappeler qu'il s'agit d'une position de principe, parce que cette position de la France est contraire au principe d'amitié, de relations amicales entre les pays. Mais je tiens à rappeler que ce différend que nous avons avec la France ne touche pas.
Thank you. That was the French the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mali, Abdoulaye Diop. He's saying that the French ambassador to Mali, John Mayer, was not declared persona non grata, that he was sent out of the country due to outrageous declarations and also due to unacceptable statements against the military junta, and that he did not recognize the legality and the legitimacy of the military leaders. And you cannot be accredited to someone you don't you recognize, and that they are open for discussions at any moment. If France can review its position about the military junta, of course he can be brought back to the country. Labaran Bekondo.
I like the game of international law. Sometimes if you have the grip of international law, you're able to appreciate what you see. In the Montevideo Conference of 1933, Article 1 gives 4 principles that recognize a state as a state in the community of states. 1 of them is government, 2, the territory, 3, the population, and 4, sovereignty. You don't prostitute with a state's sovereignty. The spokesman for the Malian government was talking from the backdrop of sovereignty. You respect the sovereignty of another state. The juntas are there, they are leaders of the country at the moment. They represent the sovereignty of Mali. The same if this situation was in France, maybe that guy would have been sent to the ICJ for crimes against humanity. That's how they always put it, crimes against humanity when it comes to black people. Now, he was speaking from the backdrop of sovereignty. And the Malians are taking their stance. They are standing. Sometimes in life, you must jump down the cliff and develop a landing strategy while going down. You must not be sure before you go. Sometimes you must jump down the cliff and develop a landing strategy while you are going down. That's what the Malians are doing. They are taking the bull by the horns. They are not bringing in somebody or sending away somebody. You follow from the minister there. They are just doing what sovereignty gives them. Those are their prerogative when it comes to sovereignty. Why do you think we respect the West and they will not respect the field? They can say anything about us here and they will just leave them go. France is experiencing a litany. It's a continuous humiliation. Is experiencing from Dien Bien Phu, from Algeria, from Egypt. They are picking this disgrace, and it will continue until they learn the word sovereignty in its purest form.
Thank you. Let's now move over to Adesi Bina. Adesi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You now have the floor, because what I want to know from you, the European Union has imposed sanctions on 5 members of the transitional government. Can these sanctions push Mali to join the bandwagon?
First of all, I supported the decision of Mali because, the decision that they've made, it's overdue. From the continent, it's overdue. In this world, it's a war zone. And one of the brothers said, strategies. So this is exactly what we want the UN to come up with all these decisions. You ask yourself, it affects them, then that is when they bring on this type of measures against Africans. It's not to say that these are Europeans, since they've been in the continent has been shrinking, especially at Mali, where it started from, and all the empires emerging out of that region. From the Ghana, come to Mali, come to the Songhai, and all these things, and even the history of the Mali and how it has contributed to the world, you ask yourself, like, when these are Eurasians, when they feel something is affecting them, you see them taking very strict measures against Africans. That should tell you, that should tell Africans that Eurasians never mean well to all Africans. And as it stands right now, they need to get out of the continent, because when they come up with systems and things that bind Africans and hide behind layers of organizations, they camouflage so much to a point where Africans, we don't realize that these are same people. Like now, I heard you say where our people are expelling one Eurasian and bringing another Eurasian, like the Russians and stuff. These are same people. They camouflage in so many layers to a point where the agenda is just one. They have a common interest in Africa, and that common interest has never been to better Africa for the well-being of Africa. It will never happen. So if we are in a war, Africans should have a stand on how they need to take their destiny. There is no law in the universe that says that we have to bow down to a European, so we have to listen to them. We just have to be cross-minded to whatever narratives they say, because their narratives, they create them so that we allow them to come in and manufacture a lot of chaos, a lot of problems, and then they come again to offer themselves as solutions. So when they feel that we are expelling their own, they feel like that link is cut. This is what happens, like in the African saying. It says, like, when you make somebody who is used to sleeping on the floor and make that person to start sleeping on the bed, that person, when you're gonna tell that person to get off the bed, the time is up for him or her to sleep on the bed, he or she is not going to get out of the bed because he's so used to sleeping on the bed, but their originality was sleeping on the floor. So this is exactly what the Europeans are expressing. But Africans, it's about time. We have a different purpose and destiny compared to that of the Europeans. We are the world builders, and for us to take that position that our ancestors took without all these European systems coming in, we have to take drastic measures. So whatever Europeans say regarding what is happening in Mali, Mali is capable enough to take care of its own citizens if they trust it in their might, and they trust that they can take their country forward as Africans and stuff like that. They don't need to they don't need to be bullied by European nations. So that is what I can say.
Member of the Organic African Paradigm. Thank you. We remain there in the U.S. Just to say that this is business from Kenya. We remain there in the U.S. With Elijah Enoaku, who is one of our guests today. Elijah, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, we get you loud and clear. One of the sanctioned members of the transition of the Junta Military Council, Adama Ben-Diarra, has described the sanctions imposed by the European Union as an honor. What is honorable in being sanctioned by the European Union?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a step back here and look at something a little bit critical. Oh, it's a problem with my video?
But we are getting your voice. Just keep talking and we're going to see how to fix that up.
Okay, so when we look at the military takeover that are happening in Africa, let's take a step back and look at why the population is jubilating when there are military takeovers. the first thing you're going to realize is that Africans are not hungry for war. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants military juntas. But when you see them celebrating these military juntas, it tells you that when you see a toad jumping in the air, you know that they're in for the bush. These people are not celebrating because they believe that in bloodshed, or they believe in war, or it's because people are fed up with what is happening in their community. People are fed up with what's happening in their country. And they see any other things to bring a ray of transparency, or a ray of deliverance. Let's put it, deliverance in court. It embrace change. It's just like when you are drowning. If you're in the water and you are drowning, you can hold on to stay. For some sort of sustenance, some way to get out of that. That is what's happening in Africa. The African community, the African people are tired of being ruled by puppet leaders who are there to transmit messages from their dictator, whoever is working. If you take the situation of Mali that we are talking about, that makes you understand if you think of events of things that are happening. You will realize that it did not just start here. Mali have been angry that France does not respect the sovereignty of Africa. They brought Norwegian troops into the country.
Hello, hello, Elijah.
Sorry.
Hello, Elijah. Hello, Elijah.
Yes.
We seem to be getting some issues with your sound. I think what I'm going to tell the our producer is going to drop the calls and call again so that we have your video, because we are not really getting you very clearly, and we want to really get you. Are making some interesting analysis here. While our technician tries to arrange that, we come back to the studio. So kindly permit us and permit our technician to drop the calls and then call back so that we can have you clearly, and then we get you again with your analysis. We come back to the studio. Ferdinand, authorities in Mali say the next step is the departure of French forces before the move. The next step, Mali is expecting the departure of French forces, and then after that they're expecting to move to economic and monetary sovereignty. How difficult, easy will it be to move towards this light?
It cannot be very, very easy. The junta, they are barely a year and something as leaders of Mali. And of course, when it comes to, like Labaran said earlier, when we talk about the sovereignty of a nation and the fact that the nation cannot live as an island, we must always have partners with whom we work, as far as the political spectrum is concerned, as far as the economy of the nation is concerned. I think that the junta and the transitional government in Mali needs to be very, very careful with the partnerships that are going to be getting into in the nearest future, because if there's a loud cry against France today by Mali and so many other countries, there are countries in Africa that have not yet gone through the cool stuff, but that are equally complaining so bitterly about the way French former colonies, though I put the former in quotes because most of French former colonies are still under the grip of France, very powerful grip. Now, what's the decision? The decision to be independent, the decision to be able to take the necessary strides to empower the economy, empower Malians. It's not only about excitement, about the steps that the junta is taking. It's not all about the excitement sending out francs. It's not only about the excitement, carrying things and doing things your own way. It's about the strategy. I want to lay emphasis on that. And what are the strategies that have been put in place to ensure that Mali comes out of this stronger and more powerful? What are the steps that have been taken? What are the economic effects of the actions that have been taken? And how far are we sure that at the end of the day, there is going to be a cry for victory, and victory that reflects in terms of economic development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of political stability, in terms of peace? Is the Malian army, capable enough to stand off the terrorist groups, to stand up the jihadists? Is the Malian government ready enough to face the economic woes coming in with the numerous sanctions that have already been meted on them by the CEDEAO, and maybe potential sanctions that are becoming maybe in the nearest future from countries that are pressing for a fast and quick return, to civilian rule. So all of these things are very important, and it's very important for us as Pan-Africanists who believe that we are strong enough and we are matured enough to handle things our own way. Can we be able to build up this scope in a way that fits in the African perspective? Or are we still relying on someone else to come and help us do this? And if we keep relying on someone else to come and help us do this, for how long will we keep relying on them? That's why I said, for us to be able to do this and do it well, it is very important that we consider our neighbors. It's very important that we consider blocks. It's very important that we consider, organizations like CEDEAO, the African Union. Are we doing it the African way? Are we doing it an individual way and still bringing in people who are still coming with interest? Because bet you me, I will not hide saying Russia is not coming into Mali to play a help and go hungry kind of game. It's not going to happen. It has never happened. It's not going to happen now. There is always an interest. It might not be shown now, but there is an interest somewhere. It is hiding somewhere, and the time will come. Mali has been with France as friends, as husband and wife for a very long time. It's now they are crying after a couple of years. What happens in the future if we have the same cry coming because the Russians are not doing what they had accepted to do from the start? So I want to think that I would have loved this happening with the Pan-African spirit and with the notion of us Africans holding our hands and standing up together to say, yes, we can do this and we can do it our own way and on our own. Because I think that when Mr. Ndiwum Emmanuel said earlier about the Malian Empire and how the kings ruled so powerfully, successfully, the emperors, they did that so successfully, this was out of touch with foreign influence. Now we are talking about a situation where these same places are going to be acting, working in synergy with some other person who is not only African, but some other power that is also European that is coming into place.
Thank you, Waingeh Ferdinand. Let me take some messages that are coming in. Good morning to you guys in the studio. My name is Kletu Sachu. My question is, why is France, who is regulating the CFA currency in Africa, why don't they use that same currency? I am watching you guys from the United States. Of course, I don't know, Mr. Ndiwum. I think Ndiwum can really better answer that question. And Ndiwum, another question too, coming in, a message coming in, targeting Ndiwum Emmanuel. Greetings to everybody in the studio. Mr. Ndiwum is saying the things the right way. We are tired of the neo-colonialism of France in Africa. My name is Mr. Ambetalino, watching from the Central African Republic. Ndiwum Emmanuel, I don't know whether you want to answer that question about why France is not using. I think it's because of a viral video that we saw online about French citizens refusing the France CFA as currency given to him by an African. I think they're talking about that. Or you want to come back to what Ferdinand was saying, because Ferdinand is saying that we cannot say we want to liberate Africa and at the same time we are bringing in countries like Russia when they're also coming with their own interest. Because in diplomacy, they often say we don't have permanent friends, but we always have permanent interest.
You know, I want to start with what Labaran said last week. Give time to sort out things. If you give time to sort out things, I think it's a senile argument to continue asking this question, why are we bringing in this, why are we bringing, because if you look at it very well, Africans are littered all over the world. Yes, for a livelihood. But then there's just something I wanted to correct on what Ferdinand said before giving you the microphone. When he questioned the ability of the Malian military to stand up against terrorist incursions or whatsoever, I want to refresh his memory that France has never brought peace in any territory in Africa, and I stand to be challenged here and today. And I will further refresh his memory that in 2013, the French military was stationed in Niger to fight terrorists. And today, the French youth has risen up to chase out anything French because they have discovered that the hidden agenda was brought by France and later on promised them that they were coming to tear down the terrorists. And let me further refresh his mind that in 2014, this same Mali we are talking about, 2012, renewed in 2014 in Mali, the French took an engagement and renewed it in 2014 that they were going to protect Mali militarily. Where was France when Assimi Goïta was taking over Cedrick? Was France not still in that territory? France was there. That is to tell you that France deals with manipulation. I was attacked once when in a sister program I said France has never won any major war since the creation of military and weaponry in the world. And I quoted the example of Dien Bien Phu. And I even went back to the Franco-Prussian War, where France was taken one day to be deleted from the war map. Those who do not do this research, they will only think superficially and believe that France is very strong. No, if Africa decides in 2 hours that France was to leave African territory, France will leave. But I want to think that it is because of the friendly nature of the African countries. They were keeping France for some time, giving the enemy some time to make a positive change. But at the end of the day, they discovered that France was there for her permanent interest and not for permanent friendship. But then, Russia is coming in to replace somebody who has been chased out.
What's Russia coming in to do?
Listen, Russia is coming in to replace somebody who has been chased out. Russia will certainly be taken to with a pinch of salt because they know that failure to agree, they are not just coming in like that. There will be certain agreements diplomatically that will be agreed.
They have always been.
Listen, I'm giving my view,
yes,
and it engages only me and to those who care to listen. Russia will certainly not treat the Malians the way the French were doing. I want to tell you that I am completely against anything political foreign control in the soil, in African soil, because we have seen how we have been treated for so long a time. And you know that the white man in Africa even has freedom more than you and I. We have seen it when they were constructing Mbele, that the Chinese were beating Cameroonians, hanging them up, tossing them up and down. They will go to the hospital, they will pay the bills, and the Chinese will never go to any court. We have seen how in Cameroon, I'm taking the example now from home, when Transparency International came in, which was fake in 2018, they were escorted by the National Gendarmerie of my country and backed by France. It should be said. That was the kind of democracy that France is teaching us. That is why we are saying that any country taking any bold step at this point in time to chase out France, as we question their credibility and their strength to stand, let us be giving them their support. They need us at this particular point in time. But before giving you the microphone, something is bothering my mind. This is another opportunity that has opened up the anus of all African organizations that have remained paper tigers in Africa. What is ECOWAS actually backing up? And what is ECOWAS standing to gain from backing up France? It tells us that, and that is where I subscribe to Ferdinand's point, that Africa is supposed to rise up as a bloc. But then, if your house is burning and the neighbor is lackluster, will you allow your house to burn to ashes because the neighbor is drawing the steps? Take a bold step. Maybe in taking that bold step, it will now trigger the neighbor to stand up. That is what Mali is doing. And I say kudos Mali 100%. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Shannon Twain sang it in her beautiful song and release. So it's a venture that is risky. But from that risky venture, something gainful shall come out of it.
Thank you, Emmanuel. We now get to Kihkishiy Lawrence. The cameras are now focused on Kihkishiy Lawrence, the French Minister in charge of Europe and Foreign Affairs, Jean-Yves Le Drian. He said that France is going to continue the fight against terrorists in the Sahel, even without Mali. Do you think France loves us so much that they are going to leave their country and then they want to keep on helping us to fight terrorists in the Sahel?
No, France doesn't. I mean, in this business, there is no charity. You understand? Nobody is coming to offer you Christmas gifts. It's business, outrightly. It's business, okay? And it's negotiated before they come in. Even the Russia that is coming in is business. It's negotiated before they come in. The point should be, if you have had the courage to take over power now, which everybody, I mean, that's the basis. We are unanimous that no, at a certain point in time, you take power. You say, no, let's fix things. Mali has taken power, but what is lacking, what we are not yet seeing, well, it may come, what we are not yet seeing is that interest in taking power and say, okay, I'm sending 2 people to Nigeria. I'm sending 2 other people to Burkina Faso, sending 2 others to Ghana. Let them see how we can mobilize security for my country that is in trouble, okay? Which would have been some significant step to say, okay, no, we're no longer interested in Russia, France, and America. I'm telling Nigeria that the last time they were in Liberia, I'm telling them now to come in so that we start seeing how to get ourselves independent and protect this vast territory that is Mali. We cannot lose it. We have taken over, yes, but we will not have enough means to go through the vast territory that we have. The rebels are on the other side, threatening us, and then the Sahel as a whole is threatened by terrorist interest. I used to say that if I were in power in most of these African countries that are complaining about terrorism, I would have solved the terrorist problem without any hesitation. Go towards them. Go towards them as citizens of the same country and tell them, okay, rather than attacking this area, what does it cost us to accept that, okay, the Islamic law will be created, will be practiced in this region? If the population accepts, if you assess and see that the population has accepted, give it to them. Let them be Muslims and practice their Islamic law, provided there is no exaggeration in it. So that first move would have been very interesting if it were looking at the region, the Africanism, the protection of interests of Malians, and the ability for Mali to stand on its own. A military junta can be there for 20 years. It doesn't bother me, provided the Malians are going to be sure of their future. But for them to be sure again, Mali cannot be an island. You have to look around and say, okay, we've had experiences in Liberia. We've had experiences in this other place where people intervene. Chad even had to send troops all over. Cameroon is sending. In the Central African Republic, people have been moving around. So can we do it? You assess. And then say, okay, otherwise, if you remove France and you're bringing Russia, and you think that you can control Russia, Russia is coming and saying, well, if tomorrow I'm booted out of here, what do I do? So I better, please, let our arrangement be on the table. In the next 3 months, pay this amount. And in the next 3 months, pay this amount, because I'm not sure of staying here forever. So my point is, the focus should have been on Africans. As soon as you take power, turn now back to Africans, go and meet leaders. There are leaders who can listen. There are leaders who are ready to listen and say, okay, I'm convinced. You may even pass, they are soldiers, you may even pass through the military. They have colleagues who are military people in countries. Tell them, look, guys, we have taken power here, and if you react on that other side, we think that we can join together and do something so that tomorrow we are no longer going to beg Europe. And I like what the lady Adese, what she said. She has wonderful ideas. She's saying, well, it's time. We're no longer kneeling down to foreign pressure. It's time. But you don't jump from the. It's been proven that somebody can jump from the plane without a parachute. But that will only be once in your life. Okay. Right? That will only be once. So when you jump and you're planning the strategy, it will only be once in your life.
Thank you, Kihkishiy Lawrence. The debate is getting really interesting here in the studio. Okay. A message coming in from Boh Elvis, watching from Ginicom. He says, please can you tell me if France is using the CFA? We are really tired of the new colonialism. I'm very pleased to hear from my own Waingeh Ferdinand like father, like son, coming in from Boh Elvis, watching from Ginicom. Labaran Bekondo, I'm sure I see you going through your articles, going through articles. I'm sure I don't want to ask a specific question because we are moving towards the end. After this, we'll move over to get Elijah and Adese before we conclude the show. You know, sweet things sometimes do not really stay for long. But I don't want to ask a question now because I'm sure you've been writing down some notes and I see you consulting some articles. So I just want you to flow with what you've prepared so far as far as the reactions to what you have been getting from the panelists.
Now, I don't think Mali has entered into a diplomatic intercourse with Russia. I don't think. If there's an agreement, then I should be challenged that we are sending away France for Russia to come. Russia has always been anti-colonial from its first day. Anti-colonial. We could call anti-colonialist. He hates that very fact that a state is controlled by another state. That's why in 1945, the U.S.A, as well as Russia, brought pressure on colonial powers to liberate Africa. Look at Russia's presence always in any country in Africa is a threat to the West. Because they fear Russia will subsume democracy for communism. That battle still goes on. That battle is an ideological war. We don't see. We just sit and talk. But if you understand from 1945, the Cold War diplomacy, you either appreciate the West or appreciate Russia.
Thank you, Labaran Bekondo. Ferdinand, I want to give you 1 minute, but let us honor our guests over there. Adese Bina and Elijah Enoaku, give them 3 minutes so that they can also give their points. We want to ensure that everything is okay. But before that, let's take this message. Good afternoon, great thinkers. You people are doing a great job for our endowed mother continent. More strength and grace. With the power vested upon me by our forefathers, I hereby baptize Comrade Ndiwum in the name of our forefathers as Pan-Africanist, and so shall it be, coming in from Fondong, who is watching us from the United Arab Emirates. Move over to you now. Adese Bina, I'm sure you're getting the interesting discussion in the studio about whether Russia should really come in, maybe as a snake, that as we are drowning, you can hold on to a snake to survive. If you are drowning, can we trust this snake, Russia, which we are trying to hold, Mali is trying to hold on to be able to survive in the sea?
Absolutely not. Like, as I said, the organic paradigm, understand that a Eurasian will always be a Eurasian. So they've already established in their blueprint that Africans are the enemies. But then they take like two of aces. Like there's one comes into the continent very aggressively, and then there's one who comes in the continent like to come like a humanitarian, like these organizations that they have, but they are working one agenda so that to confuse the African, because Africans, we are so used to looking at things on a basic level. We don't study these people. We've never taken time to study these Eurasians the way they study us to the cellular level. They know us everything. You will see them walking in the continent freelance, you know, without any restriction. Whatever they do, they are studying us. They are giving children this and this. And before you know it, they are the ones who know what the certain diseases are coming from which area. So these people can never be trusted. Africans, they are very capable of leading themselves. Once they understand that their future children or future generations are at risk, then they have to consider that we as Africans, we must establish a plan on how we are going to have longevity, continuation, and sustainability. And in that plan, we cannot have foreigners because they don't mean well. They've been dragging us behind for generations and generations. We cannot keep on allowing them to come in and bring their stupid humanitarian services and tell us like the things like peace and nature itself has no forgiveness and peace. Nature has coexistence, and what we've experienced from them when they say peace is actually means war. So it's about time that Africans, we develop our brain and face the world as what it is, you know. And then at the same time, we need to understand, like, for us to have a solid strategy that can make us rise, we need to have a global purpose and destiny. We cannot have like just a country purpose and destiny, just a limited understanding. The other people are coming after us with a global perspective, a global, like you hear them say that they want to put one world order. That's our global. So Africans, we cannot look at just limited in the continent. We are world builders. So in the organic African paradigm, we already understand our purpose and destiny. We already understand our 5 truths. And those 5 truths, they don't limit us from the world level, from the African continent. It takes us up to the planets, because we understand once we start restoring life, excess life has to be taken to other 8 planets. So this thing, we are allowing foreigners to come in. There's nothing that they can give us that nature hasn't given us already. They need us more than we need them.
They say we now move over to Elijah Enoaku. We are sorry that for some difficulties too, you know, Elijah. We were unable to see your face the other time. I'm sure it's okay now. And I want you to take some 3 minutes and react to what we've been getting in the studio before we come back and draw a conclusion, because we're almost at the end of the show. So Elijah, you have the floor.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can get you.
Okay, gentlemen, I just want to conclude by saying that let's have local solutions to local problems. That is what Africans should be focusing on now. African solutions to African problems. That is what we have seen happening in Burkina Faso. The person that is trying to broker peace in Burkina Faso now is a powerful traditional leader who is trying to talk to those jihadists who are Burkina Fasans, and also talk to the government side and trying to bring them on the negotiating table. But what did the West want? The West wanted war, and they wanted to fight. And that is why Dibamba said no. He has to take power from the current president and institute African solutions to African problems. I hear in the studio my able gentleman talking about bringing Russia. You are trying to hang out on a snake that is going to kill you. Why do I say so? We see example already happening in Central African Republic where Russia is. What is Russia doing there? Russia is negotiating local deals with the rebel and exploiting all the minerals in Central African Republic without bringing a single iota of peace in that country. Russia is not the solution to African problem. Number 3, I want to say that it is unfortunate that the African Union is a toothless bulldog. That is an organization that we hope that they are going to bring Africans together, the journalists saying, and they're going to sit on a table and say, hey, Liberia, hey, Nigeria, hey, Ghana, can you come to the table and help us and see how we can solve these African problems? But what are they doing? They are allowing France to use the European Union to bring pressure on Africa to see if they can institute European solution to African problems. It is not working, and it's not going to work. And finally, let me tell you guys, that France did not complain of the presence of, the junta. They are complaining of the presence of Russia because of what? There is gold in Mali. There is oil and gas in Mali. That is where the interest is. They know that immediately the Russians come, They are going to start exploiting that gold. They are going to start exploiting oil and gas. So there is friends over there. There is no charity when it comes to international organizations. They will give them hand with the right hand. Call for African solutions to African problems. Get out of this mentality of always thinking that we need Russia, we need France, we need the United States to help us. We can work with them as partners, equal partners in international global society, in social context in which we are. We can always work as that. We do not need the government to take Africa what the solution is. So, ladies and gentlemen, have this kind of strategy and mentality. Africans can resolve their problem, and we can work with these people. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Technology.
Thank you, Elijah.
In order to bring.
Thank you, Elijah Enoaku. In fact, we are watching your discussion in the studio with a lot of enthusiasm, but unfortunately, we have to end the show. It's so sweet, but we have to end the show. Let me just take these messages too from our viewers. Please sell this idea to all parts of Africa. You guys are professionals. Continue. One day it shall be over. Ferdinand, writing in from Cambe. Greetings to you, dear panelists in the studio. I think Africans can make it on their own. No need for Russian intervention in Mali. Kudos to Sudan, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Cameroon, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to everyone in the studio, but Clinton has to be punished. Sorry, the message coming in. I'm sure he's writing about the Cameroon match. I think, ladies and gentlemen, our technicians already indicated it's time for us to leave. The topic was so sweet, but unfortunately we have to go. I give you guys 30 seconds to conclude. 30 seconds, starting with you, Ferdinand. 30 seconds for your conclusion, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure being here and to talk about great topics like this one. And of course, just to conclude, I think that Africa is matured enough, Africa is big enough to handle its own problems. There is no superpower in the world that can beat the might of Africa if Africa stands as one. Nobody else should dictate what we should do. We should do what we can do. We need to stretch a hand and hold each other, and we need to work in synergy to ensure that we do great things for our continent. Thank you very much.
Do Emmanuel, Mr. Slow and Steady Facts.
Yes, this message to the African leaders, instead of continuing to put your ties with the West, buying armor cars to come and slaughter your own populations, it is time for you people to take this money, better up the lives of your people. And to the African population, only a slave will choose to prolong his stay in the house of his master. It is time for the slave to rise up and free himself.
Kihkishiy Lawrence.
Well, I think we have said it all. It's time now for Mali to start drawing up strategies of getting neighbors to come in and join in for a better movement. Let it be a movement so that Mali can be saved. Let them not go, because when there's stress, the risk is that those who were sent away will come in now gently and be even welcomed like heroes. So now they should get support from neighbors so that all of Africa should gradually join in.
Labaran Bekondo, thank you for coming.
It has been wonderful being here and sharing the African idea. I pray for an African renaissance, which of course is gaining steam in Africa. And I pray this renaissance should be embedded in the AU, whom the UN has given power as per Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. So he should actually come into problem to solve them and provide African solutions to African problems. Thank you very much.
Adesebina, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you as well. This century we have to finish our war. We cannot transfer this war to the next century. This century we must finish it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elijah Enoaku. Thank you so much for your time, sir, and for your input.
Thank you for having me. Let's continue this discussion in other procedures that Africans can solve the problem. That's the strategy. Let's have the strategy in place. Let's not be bouncing around the place from A to B. Bring this one. Africans can solve the problem.
Thank you. Ferdinand, I think you already concluded already. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the administrative and technical crew of my Media Prime Television. Eli Nolinga Ewane was the producer of the show, coordinated by Kum Leonard and supervised by Brian Tambe. I am Boh Elvis, thanking you for watching. See you next week for another edition of 90 Minutes in Africa, God willing. Bye-bye.